Nobody's above the law. Everybody's being investigated. President Trump is being investigated by multiple organizations. Israel, that was also an effort by the International Criminal Court. There are IDF members who get prosecuted at times for unlawful use of force. No, this is the Balkans. This court doesn't make sense when it comes to America or Israel. It makes perfect sense when it comes to places where there is no rule of law. So I can discern as a lawyer that it makes sense here, doesn't make sense there. This complaint, I think, is legitimate. It doesn't mean I'm going to join the International Criminal Court anytime soon, but as in the Balkans, where there was no rule of law, where the generals who ran the concentration camps wound up going to jail, if you don't have a venue like this, there is no place to hold Putin accountable. And that's the point, and I hope people will understand the point I'm trying to make, that now is the time to hold him accountable. This is a proper form, a good form, and if we give him a pass on the war crimes that are being committed in front of us all every night on television, I can only imagine what China will think. When it comes to dictators, you need to make it personal to them.
Thank you, Senator. Alexander Nazarian, Yahoo News. You live in any situation in which there are American boots on the ground, not in Romania, not in Germany, but in Ukraine.
I think the president said that we will not go in on the ground. No-fly zones would create potential military engagements with Russia. No, not right now.
You can ask one more. Yesterday, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said he dismissed sanctions. He said we don't care.
Yeah.
Do you think that's bluster, or do you think they really have sort of insulated their economy in a way that maybe?
So, I'm not Dr. Phil here about Putin. I've never met the guy. I know he has a very big table, which is kind of weird to me. I don't know what your house is like, but 100.
All right, everybody, again, you are watching Live Now from Vox, where we are bringing you several live, raw, and unfiltered feeds coming into our desk. This one coming in from Washington, D.C., of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham introducing a resolution that would support Ukraine and hold Russian President Vladimir Putin accountable for his alleged war crimes as his troops continue to invade. We also have another feed that we want to go to that we have been dipping in and out of. We do know that ambassadors from dozens of countries currently holding an emergency session right now to vote on a proposal that demands Russia immediately halt its attack on Ukraine. They did just vote on that. 141 for, in favor, 5 against, and 35 countries that have abstained from their vote. So again, we're going to tune in to this meeting coming in from the United Nations General Assembly in New York City here on Live Now from Vox.
Is to live peacefully with each other, uphold the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states while considering the security interests of other countries. Diplomatic options present the better solution to the sustainable peace. We call for open dialogue and negotiations in good faith. Finally, Mr. President, Rwanda calls for a sincere commitment to the United Nations Charter and international order. The ongoing crisis poses a severe threat to international peace and security. We encourage concerned parties to give a chance to peace. We wish to underline that a long-lasting solution to the current crisis primarily lands and is in the hands of both Ukraine and the Russian Federation. Dialogue is the only option to resolve the current crisis. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished representative of Rwanda, and now I give the floor to the distinguished representative of China.
谢谢主席先生。主席先生，乌克兰局势仍在急剧变化，形势发展令人痛心。中方在乌克兰问题上的基本立场是一贯明确的，我们始终主张尊重各国主权和领土完整，根据联合国宪章宗旨和原则，和平解决。
All right, everybody, you again are watching Live Now from Fox, where we are bringing you several live, raw, and unfiltered feeds coming into our desk. It appears as though we are listening into the ambassador, the Chinese ambassador to the United Nations General Assembly, speaking right now without a translation. But we do want to bring you up to speed on what has happened. We do know that ambassadors from countries of the UN holding this emergency session right now in New York City, voting on a proposal that demands Russia immediately halt its attack on Ukraine. Moments ago, we did hear from them taking that vote live, raw, and unfiltered here on Live Now from Fox, where we do know that 141 ambassadors did vote in favor for that proposal, 5 voted against, and that there were also 35 that have abstained from that vote. So again, that is a move to have Russian President Vladimir Putin move all of his troops out of Ukraine. So to be determined on what happens in the coming days and exactly how much weight this vote and this proposal will carry. In the meantime, we do want to take you out to another live feed that we have been tuning to. We do know that Senator Lindsey Graham has just introduced a resolution for U.S. lawmakers to vote on that will hold Russian President Vladimir Putin accountable for his alleged war crimes. So we do want to go back out to that feed, live, raw, and unfiltered, here on Live Now from Fox.
Yeah. No, I haven't introduced it yet. I got a draft, and I'm using you as a prop here to get out to my colleagues and the world that there is an idea that has yet to be utilized, and that is the rule of law front. We're going to send arms to the Ukrainian people. I'm convinced of that. Economic aid. We're going to continue to ratchet up sanctions. The sooner we get to oil and gas, the better. But the one area that I think we haven't spent enough time is holding Putin and those who carry out his war crime orders accountable in an international tribunal. This is a moment in history that we need to take advantage of. This court, while it has flaws, is the perfect venue because there's no place in Russia to hold him accountable. I am convinced that if the world spoke with one voice here, and let the Russian military know that you commit these crimes at your own peril. And we're not going to forget, like we did in Syria, that we can maybe see cracks in Russia. One last question. Well, I'm going to start a phone blitz today. I'm calling the British ambassador, and I'm going to call some of our allies and say, would you please get behind this complaint? Because if we give voice to this complaint, and international legal associations, you need to speak up. I think if we can make it real to the people around Putin that we're not going to ignore your crimes, we're going to hold you accountable. Yeah, Poland would be a good place to go. The Polish people, those in that area, have really stood up and met the moment. That's why we need an aid package, not just for the Ukraine, for Poland and all the surrounding neighbors who have actually taken Ukrainians with open arms. We need to help them because, as she said, and I'll give her the last word here, what happens in Ukraine really does matter to us. And let me tell you why. If he gets away with it in Ukraine, I promise you China will take Taiwan.
I think the House has some plans, but I cannot tell you what it is because I'm not authorized and I never ask what it's going to be, but when we know exactly, it probably will be communicated to you.
Yeah, so if we get this right, then we can turn the world around for better. The Iranians, I hope they see that the world is not going to accept war crimes anymore. And what the Iranians are doing through their proxies is just they're dismantling the Mideast. So this is really a good moment to let the world know that we've had enough of this outrageous behavior, killing indiscriminately civilians who only want to live their life free, bombing grandmothers and grandbabies. Enough is enough, and I'm hoping that not only do we pass an aid package, that we will get behind the Ukrainian efforts to hold Putin accountable as a war criminal. If we do that, it'll be a good message to send to other would-be war criminals. Thank you.